what we have, Michael. I'll let you do it all because I'm like looking at it. We got like 9 names. I keep wanting to say Westwood, but
we'll
talk about that in a minute. But all right, what are we looking at here?
Okay, hi, my name is Mike Legg. I'm president and co-founder of Petroglyph. Yep. I represent Petroglyph. We're developing Grey Goo for Grey Box, and we're working with Weta Workshop. They're also working with us on the game. They're doing a lot of core concepts of it and creating like the backstory and the races and the factions and the history of everything. We're creating the game itself. So they're creating a lot of the lore and everything. We're creating the game. And Grey Goo, it's a new RTS game. We're taking it back to our old school Command & Conquer roots, the old RTS roots, where we obviously embrace all the modern niceties of high-speed internet and lots of RAM and DirectX 11. But we're bringing all the gameplay back to like our favorite, like kind of old RTSs of the 90s, where it's more about macro management, less micromanagement, base building, resources, and 3 extremely unique factions.
Now you mentioned Command & Conquer, and I know a lot of the kids out there are not going to know too much about that. So where did you come from, and how did you get here?
Wow, okay, so our roots, it's pretty crazy. A lot of us went to high school together in Las Vegas, and we, and then some of us worked together at the same local computer store called Century 23. Yep. And then some of us were in college, like early college together, and that's when Westwood sprung out, Brett Spray and Lewis Castle. And so Westwood Studios got founded, and I was like right there with all with Brett and Lewis at the beginning, and a lot of other old Westwood folks joined on, and we just had a really fun run, and it just, we spent 18 years at Westwood, had a total blast making all kinds of really neat, fun games. Dune 2, Joe Bostic, he's our creative director at Westwood Studios, or at I'm messing up. At Petroglyph, he's our creative director. He co-created Dune 2 and the Command & Conquer and Red Alert with Brett Sperry, and kind of kicked off the very first game that had the real-time strategy logo actually on the box was Dune 2.
That's Dune, not Doom.
Dune,
for anybody out there.
D-U-N-E, yeah, Dune, like Dune. Battle for Arrakis.
Yes.
Yeah, and so we had wonderful years at Westwood. We worked all the way up on the Command & Conquer 3. And then in 2003, we spun off from, we were owned by EA, and they were setting up Electronic Arts Los Angeles, so we spun off and started Petroglyph in Las Vegas. That was 11 years ago, and we've been making RTS games and strategy games, and that's what we love.
So this is definitely more independent than now.
Yeah, we're an independent developer. We're back, by ourselves, and we've been going at it, and now Grey Goo is great because Greybox came to us and said, hey, how would you guys like to take a game that's not free to play, it's not subscription based, it's kind of like, it's not MMO, it's going back to the core of real-time strategy, where there's a story campaign, skirmish battles, multiplayer battles, even LAN mode support. You don't even have to be connected to the internet, so you can have LAN parties. So we're kind of taking it back to that core.
Now you mentioned a lot of the core features, a lot of the legacy features. What new and innovative features have you guys put into this game? Let's talk about that.
Well, let's see. We're really excited about our AI systems that we're working on. Still under development, but currently the AI has no scripting hooked to it at all. I'm not going to say it learns, because it doesn't, but it's adaptive. Okay. And what it does is we use a system called, it's based off of a system called CLIPS. It's been used by DARPA, it's been used by the Navy, and it's an adaptive system that builds its own rule sets, and it kind of evolves. But like you said, when you start a new game, it resets itself. But what it'll do is the AI will come out and scout you, see what you're doing, and it'll react accordingly, and it'll always look at what you're doing. And currently it doesn't cheat. Now maybe for some of the harder modes, we might let it, we want the game to be fun, yeah. So maybe we'll give it like somewhere it can see a little bit, because a human will always win at the end of the day. Yeah. But in the lower level, simpler AI settings, I don't even think we want to have it like see anything outside of your fog of war. The other thing we're doing that we really love is the Grey Goo faction, and it hasn't been seen publicly yet, but that is something very new, very different that a lot of the, some of the early press is saying that they've never seen in an RTS before. And it is a faction, it is called Grey Goo, and it is Grey Goo, and it oozes around the map. It's basically nanotechnology run amok, where it self-replicates upon itself, and it can do some really cool and weird things. And what's really fun about it is even its visuals are programmatically generated by algorithms versus like being traditionally modeled by like an artist, right. Like an RTS artist.
Does that mean that everyone's going to have something a little different in their game?
Yeah. And what's nice is based on the 3 factions that you play, at a macro level of your base and your technology, you can modify your technology chain. So you will have very different games every time. And the Goo, like I said itself, also plays very differently. So all three factions will really give you a lot of variety. They're very different from each other.
All right, before we go, I want to ask you a couple more questions that are not quite about the game.
Sure.
All right, so what is your favorite PC game of all time, and why?
Oh man, you guys are gonna kill me. I love World of Warcraft. My wife and I play that so much. We've got a Petroglyph guild, and I think I put more time in on that. I gotta say XCOM also, the latest XCOM.
The new one, yeah.
Yeah, one of my all-time favorites. You know, Enemy Within is awesome, and but I think I played more World of Warcraft than anything. I think it's just, you know, because we all get our headphones on and we jump on Ventrilo, and we go do instances and runs, and it's just, I don't know, I guess it's kind of for my downtime. Yeah. It's definitely one of my all-time faves.
All right, this question is going to be about your development career history. Now, what's the most ridiculous or strange thing that's ever happened throughout the development of any game? I mean, something you can tell on camera, you know, like an incident or...
Let me think. The weirdest thing that's ever happened to us.
Any cops show up for any weird reason?
Oh my God, yes!
Oh,
yeah. There was one time. Oh, this is a good story. There was one time. Yeah, we're so at Petroglyph. We're on our sixth building. We've been around for 11 years. So you know we're on our sixth building. I think we're on building number 4, and we had just hired this girl named Amanda Flock, an incredibly awesome designer. She used to work at SOE, and she came in and she was entering in her alarm code. She was a new employee. She was entering in her alarm code. She was up there with HR, and they were setting up the alarm code so that she could come and go from the building.
Right.
Well, I guess the alarm code that she entered was the same alarm code that's the panic, we're being held at gunpoint under duress, silent alarm code. So she entered this code in, and I guess it didn't work, and they used a different code. Right. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department is getting summoned that we're under duress at gunpoint. Triggered the silent alarm. Joe Bostic, who's our studio creative director, has his office next to me, looks out the window and goes, Mike, I just saw somebody run by with an M16. And I'm like, wait, what? I turn and look, and I see a female Metro officer run by with a shotgun. We look out the window, we see people setting up rifles and we see our entire parking lot has been cordoned off with police cars. They're setting up guns. We think like they chased somebody into our parking lot. We have no idea it's us. So then they're going around the building. We're taking pictures of this out our windows, and texting it and sharing it, Facebooking it. Suddenly, Frank Klepacki, our sound guy, creative, our sound audio director, who did all the music for Command and Conquer and all the Petroglyph games and all the Westwood games, he's in there doing gunfire recordings for our Universe at War game that we were doing. So now they hear gunfire, they go to super high alert. One of our programmers gets up, the AI programmer, Brett Ambrose, walks around to the door. He's not wearing any shoes. The police are like, get out here. And he goes, I can't. And they're like, come through the door right now. And they got their guns out. He goes, I can't, I'll set the alarm off. Because the doors aren't. And they're like, get out. And then Frank comes out of his office. No, he's cool. And they're like, you get out here too. And it just kind of created this whole thing. And then they came in and checked everything out. And we got it all cleared up. And we had just had pizza delivered, and we offered them pizza and donuts, but they said they couldn't take it, and they left.
Did they have a laugh at least, or not really?
Oh, they had a good laugh, but yeah, they were very serious until they cleared the building.
Yeah.
Because they wanted to make sure that we weren't, secretly being held hostage or anything. So, yeah, that was a weird one.
That's
pretty
awesome.
fun.
All right, Michael, I can't wait to play Grey Goo.
Thanks, man.
Thanks very much for the interview.
Oh, man, my pleasure. Thanks for coming.
Take care.
All right, so I already suck really bad because I've never played this game before, but it's really cool. It's called Grey Goo. Essentially, some of the things I like about this game so far, you're basically able to, well, it's different first off depending on which one of the 3 races you pick, right? Each race plays differently. They haven't released anything about the Goo race, which is essentially like nanotechnology that became sentient. And play. Gotcha, sorry. 2 things at once, it's very difficult for me to do. And so when you start building with the human race, which is the only one I've really understood so far, you basically build structures together. They have to be touching. So this is one of the things I build. It basically helps create all my different units, and then I can connect it in with other things like a tank portion that basically allows me now to build tanks and add on something else to make it build even faster, so on and so forth. And then refineries, you basically build a refinery at the same time you end up building your gathering. So basically it's a lot of resource management, but it's fun still. And you end up doing things like this wall, spin it around, and basically units on the enemy team cannot see or fire through this, so it's almost like camouflage, but I can fire through it on the way out. Also, on different planets it'll be different, but let's say I go over to this foliage, Oh, I just realized I found a space. It's right there. I can hide underneath trees.
We're not on the same map.
Oh, we're not?
No.
Oh, okay.
I already
so
looked up for you, trying to kill you. You weren't anywhere, yeah.
I was trying to turtle and I failed. So I'm over here now. I'm completely hidden from any air units. But that's basically all I've learned so far. You guys kind of jumped in. Other than that, resources could be anywhere. They can be, this is basically the main resource. I don't know what it's called, but that could be underneath a mountain. And we could both be against each other and harvesting the same resource and not even know it.
It's all spice.
It's all spice. It really,
it's spice, yeah.
Dune was awesome, right? Commodore 64, that was my first experience with RTS. I loved it. So that's all I got for you guys right now.
Awesome, man. Thanks.
Thanks, Logan.
In this video, you can win a Dash Drive Durable. This is a very durable, very durably built external hard drive, and this one is 1 terabyte. So if you want to win one of these, just go ahead and click on the bottom of the screen, and it'll take you to our website. You can freaking win, man. You can do it. I believe in you.